Right. Dun, 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 dun. Okie dokie. And good evening and welcome to my weekly 10 show, episode 91. What makes a strong man? Okay, before I jump into that tonight, just want to highlight that I'm still available for one-to-one coaching. It's actually been a really productive day today for me. I've been offered 2 speaking gigs, one in a prison, one in a business, and I'm hoping that I'm about to sign up 2 new clients as well. So let's see if today turns out to be as productive as it seems to have. But like I said, I'm working one-to-one with people, and I'm starting a new group program soon as well, and I'm doing talking events in various different places, speaking events around the topics in a book, mainly about my mindset, about resilience within the workplace, or whether it's being a prison. I'm doing a lot of talks in prisons at the moment and things like that. So if anyone's interested in finding out more about how I can help you in any area, whether it be one-to-one within your workplace or in general reasons, just give me a shout and we'll have a chat and see where we go from there. But tonight I'm talking about what makes a strong man, and this is a topic that's close to my heart. And it's also relevant because I'm in the middle of a rebrand at the moment. I'm actually focusing on working more with men. I mean, I have anyway, but I do work with females as well. But I'm actually rebranding to focus more on men from a certain demographic, working sort of men, normal guys who, don't necessarily feel able to open up to professionals in other areas because whatever stigmatization they feel they might receive. So really I work with guys who understand that I've been there, seen it, done it, and I won't judge you, patronize you, and all of those sort of things. And it's important for a lot of guys going through whatever they're going through to be able to reach out and get the help they need when they need it. And this is why I'm rebranding to work specifically with men. So this is one of the reasons why I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about tonight and what makes a strong man. I grew up watching interviews, documentaries, films, all sorts of stuff about history, and more specifically the world wars. I'm massively into my history stuff. I watch the YouTube channels every single night pretty much, and I'm really fascinated by the stories, the veterans' stories, and what people went through during those times when they were really up against it, when they were really struggling and facing really difficult times, and having lost your friends in the wars and things like that. I suppose in a way it resonates with me as well from what I went through losing my family. So in a way I understand sort of situations like that, but I'm really keen to find out what those people went through. So I grew up watching all of these things, and I also grew up with a belief in my mind that having a stiff upper lip was a very British thing. It was a very noble thing. You just got on with it. It showed strength. It showed, you just got up and got on with it. And I was brought up that way, to believe that way. My mother brought me up that way as well. I mean, it was like, always just get on with it. When you get knocked down, get up and get on with it. That sort of mentality. And I know there is substance in that. It helped me in a way when I was in prison. But having that belief that a man just gets on with it and doesn't need help in any way, it's a bit of a fallacy. And I think this is one of the things that stops a lot of guys, men out there, opening up and dealing with things because of the way we perceive it to be rather than how it actually is. So when you look beyond the actual surface and actually look beneath that surface, specifically at those World War II veterans, for instance. Now, a lot of people say, back in those days, the guys are stronger. They used to just get on with it. They were really strong guys. Now, did those veterans all cope fine with life after the war? That's the question here. Did they all get on with it and just carry on as normal and everything was fine? Yes or no? Truth is, many of those guys, and again, I've watched documentary after documentary or interview after interview with these guys. Truth is, many of these guys have said that had the help that's around now been available back then, many of them would have jumped at the opportunity to take it up because it would have saved them decades of pain, misery, trauma and despair. Not just them, their families too, because they all had to go through all the stuff that they went through, PTSD and all of these things. You know, imagine having your friend's head blown off next to you. How's that going to affect you? You can't just block that out and carry on as normal and expect that never to affect you. So there's things that you have to deal with in life. I'm not saying everybody's have to been through that experience, but it just shows that being able to deal with things which affect us helps us in a way move forward. It doesn't stop us moving forward, and it certainly doesn't mean you're a stronger man for avoiding dealing with things like that. So having adopted that stiff upper lip approach myself when I was given my life sentence and when I lost all my family in prison, I know only full well how those guys felt who'd been through that sort of experience of really extreme trauma, which, you know, if you don't deal with it, it can just consume you, and it's difficult. It's difficult. So when we bury traumatic thoughts, feelings, emotions, that sort of thing, and avoid actually confronting inner demons, which we've all got. You know, it doesn't matter who you are, how sane you are. You don't have to be some completely depressed, suicidal person to have inner demons. We've all got them. It doesn't matter who you are and how happy your life is. You've got an inner demon of some sort that's stopping you creating or being who you truly want to be. So when we avoid confronting these, it doesn't make you tough. It doesn't make you strong. It doesn't make you a hard man. It makes you weak. It makes you weaker, because a weak person avoids confrontation when it comes to themselves. Because if something isn't right within us and we just say, okay, I'm going to just pretend that's not there and avoid it, how does that make you strong? Exactly. Because in my experience, it doesn't. It doesn't. It actually makes you a lot weaker, because you're avoiding and you're deflecting. So you're deflecting the reasons you're feeling that way onto other things, blame, guilt, that sort of thing. So you're not taking the responsibility. Therefore, you're not moving past whatever that block may be in your life. So many of us look at the big, strong, tough guys and tell ourselves that's what a strong man is. And I did it for years. I mean, I used to have my role models, and they're all like big, tough guys, the hard nuts sort of that you see around. And I sort of wanted to be like that for years when I was a kid. And that's how I sort of mirrored. I thought, I want to be a big, strong, tough guy. So I lived a life which I thought would get me to that point, But when you've seen guys like this, like the big sort of stereotypical tough guy that you expect to be the man's man, the alpha male, when you've seen those guys crumble and break and fall apart at the slightest bit of pressure, and I've seen a lot of them in prison, I can tell you that now, real tough guys on the surface, breaking like twigs, because they haven't got the inner strength to deal with whatever they're going through. They may look tough, they may act tough, they may look like that to everybody else, like they're the real main man. The truth is, unless you've got that going on inside, you're nothing. You're weak. It doesn't mean you might look like strong, but you're built like a feather within inside. And the slightest thing will knock you to pieces. And that is in reality, true toughness actually comes from within. That's where true tough. It's developed like any skill or thing in life. You develop it over a period of time, and it's not how you look or appear, but what you think and you feel. And if you're the type of bloke who thinks a real man just gets on with it without ever focusing inwards, that any men who do that sort of thing are effeminate or woke or weak, then you're completely missing the point. Because learning how to be at your best, you can be the very best you can be in all areas of your life, doesn't make you woke, it doesn't make you effeminate, it doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong. It makes you extremely strong, because it demonstrates true mental toughness. And if you've got true mental toughness, then you're a real man. You can real deal with everything, because you can provide, you can protect, you can do everything you need to do, which a real, truly masculine guy needs to do. And you can only do that if you're in control of yourself. How can you look after everybody else if you can't look after yourself? So for those people who choose to work on themselves and their mindset, they're really showing courage, determination, character, confidence, resilience in order to actually move themselves forward in their lives and be the best versions of themselves. Now, to me, that makes you a strong guy. Someone who's willing to put themselves forward for something like that, knowing full well it's taken themselves out of the comfort zone in order to be a better man, and provide for the people around them. That makes you a strong man. A real strong man is someone who is at peace with himself, who feels confident all of the time, who feels fearless all of the time. They lead with competence and wisdom, knowledge and confidence. That's what a real man does. And a real man will do that because they're at peace with themselves. And that takes work. It takes a lot of work to be at that point. And you're only ever going to do that if you start working, focusing inward and not avoiding doing so, which so many of us do. It's easy to do. I'll go out and get pissed at the weekend. I'll do a bit of gear, and it will just block it off, pretend it's not there. I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, sod it, I'm a geezer. Okay. If you're going into a battle, who would you rather follow into that battle? Would you follow the man who falls apart whenever something goes wrong and then deflects blame onto other people, or doesn't take responsibility for their own actions? Would you follow that sort of guy into action? I wouldn't. Or would you follow the man who is, no matter what happens, no matter what got thrown at you, would stand strong and focused and calm and in control? Would you follow that man into a battle? Me personally, that's who I'd follow, because that would be the real strong man, and that's the one who's worked on himself, not the other one. So the only way anybody can create true inner strength is when you work on self-mastery and your mindset, more specifically your mindset. And you're only going to get self-mastery if you do work on your mindset. So it's important, and it's imperatively important if you want to be the man you truly are. And I work specifically now with men to help normal everyday guys become the men that they really want to be, and mentally, emotionally, and physically. If you have an open mind and you choose to learn new ways of doing things, which are not woke, not effeminate, not PC, not all of these labels we like to label things with, and which enable you to work on your mindset whilst keeping your masculinity, because this is what a lot of guys feel they're not getting, because by opening up about your emotion, I lose my masculinity. No, you don't. You gain it. It's an opposite. So you don't lose that, you gain that. You gain masculinity when you work on yourself. So it's a fallacy to say otherwise, because when you're happy in your control, you're a true leader. And that's what I work with, true leaders, people who want to be true leaders in their life and who lead their own life, and the people help and support and protect the people around them as well. So if you're interested in finding out more how I can help you do that, like I said, drop me a message and I will get straight back to you. And I hope that's helped some people find some clarity, because I know there's a lot of guys out there who find it easy to say, it's a load of rubbish. Is it really? See you next time. Bye bye.